Hello throwers, Coach Wilmuth here back just to, at the request of one of the viewers, Alex out there, watching some of the videos, wanted to know if we could do a kind of an analysis, a video analysis of one of the premier discus throwers, certainly in recent times, has been Robert Harting. And of course, a long-standing tradition with the German throwers. It goes back a long way. And what's really cool about Robert, this is 2012 when he won the Olympic gold. And what is even more just amazing is his brother Christoph, on his last and final throw at the Olympic Games in 2016 in Rio for their Olympic Games in Brazil, he ended up winning the gold medal in discus. How cool is that, right? Two brothers winning gold medals back to back. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to play at regular speed, then I'll bring it back, and we'll look at some of the really wonderful things that he brings to this event, and then we'll play it out at the end just to watch him again throw it. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Coming into the circle now. Interestingly enough, he was in third place at this particular point in the fourth round, and this particular throw was enough to win the Olympic gold medal. There he is yelling it out. Just over 68 meters. It was really, really close competition. And there's Robert kind of celebrating at the end of the event, his traditional way of kind of playing the Hulk there, I guess. Awesome. So anyway, let me bring it back, and just bear with me for a sec. I'm just going to bring it back to where we kind of left off. And there's old Virgil. He's finishing off his career, ended up fourth. But anyway, here he comes into the event. Comes in the very same way all the time, got his own pre-event routine. All right, so let's have a look at a couple of things here, and we'll use the pencil to kind of help us through a few of these things. The first thing I want to note, though, however, is I get a lot of questions about, Coach, where should I start in the circle? You can see where Robert's starting in the circles. And what I mean by that is, let's take the center line. So if you look at this, we've divided the circle into two pieces, left and right. The sector divided as well. So we're right down the middle. And you can see he's well offset to the left hand of the circle. And he's going to be pivoting on his left foot, on the ball of his foot. And a lot of people ask me, like, where should I set up? And, every thrower is different. Height of a thrower, overall weight, athleticism, body awareness, what have you. And where you set up in the circle really becomes something you need to work on. Robert does it this way. His brother does it another way. I mean, we could go down the list. A good starting point, though, from a coaching perspective, is to really start up somewhere around here. So what I mean by that, just offset your feet, slightly shoulder width apart. You can put your feet there so they're equally offset on both sides of the kind of the middle of the circle. And then where you end up at the front half of the circle will determine your adjustment. So you can move this to the left or to the right. You can move your feet slightly, shuffle them over to the left or to the right to modify a strong throwing position at the front of the circle in a heel-toe relationship. So that's where you want to be, in a strong throwing position. So where you start at the back is really critical in the throwing event. But you can see Robert, how he starts. He's offset it slightly to the left of the circle, as we're kind of, not as we see it, but as he would see it. Now let's have a look at it. One of the very critical points for any thrower, and I'm sure many of you would agree, that pivoting left foot for a right-handed thrower is really critical. We want to make sure that we're really on the ball of our foot spinning. And that's a really important point. Here's another very important point, and I call this the loaded position. In other words, lock and loaded, I call it. That arm wants to be fully extended. You can see his gaze is over there somewhere, so he has that discus fully back. And he's using his left arm as a block. He's kind of leading with it to prevent him from turning the upper body prematurely in the throwing event. So a lot of the action is really in this foot, making a turn this way, which will obviously initiate the knee to turn. Why do we want to do that? Want to make a nice quick turn on the left side so that we can facilitate a nice swinging right leg. And this is really critical. He's using the momentum of his body and that right leg to swing around as he comes around. Okay, let's get rid of some of that clutter. And let's go down and kind of move it a few frames to give you a sense of the next position. Now we're not going to, it's really, you can see here a couple things that he's really doing well. Even as he's starting to turn, he's keeping the discus far back. That's really important because the longer the range of motion, the greater distance you can pull on the discus and therefore get even a better result, okay, in terms of overall distance. You can see he's on his toe down here, ball of his foot, and he's making his turn, but you can see this right leg is starting to make a nice wide sweep, and he's going to bring it right back into the middle of the circle to get even more speed. Okay, so let's move it ahead a couple of more frames. You can see he's really loaded up very high now. And you're saying, wow, isn't that a really weird position? No, all his weight is on that left foot right now. And he's going to, you can see how blurry his right foot is, even in slow motion. And that's how fast these guys are going. He's going to swing that around and bring it down in here, where he's going to make sure that he stays on the ball of his foot. So let's come around. Let's see a few more frames. Remember, his discus is still staying back as far as he can get it. Now, these are some really great pictures as we're moving closer. This is a really critical point for a lot. Look at that. He's in 2 feet or off the ground. I see a lot of throwers just making that one step to the middle. Well, that's good if you want to throw at a certain distance. But we want to get into an unstable, quick position in the power position up front. There's no better way than to push off this left foot and get that right foot down in the center of the circle. So I'm just going to bring this around a little bit more. Look at this, folks. This is awesome. Look at this. Can you see the discus? I can't see the discus. It's still way back. He's back here somewhere. I got my blocking left arm. I don't want to come around. My hips are square still to the front of the circle. And that's great position. That's really a textbook kind of way of looking at it. But here's really where it starts and ends. I'm going to be quite honest with you, is down here. And if you look at his toe, he's on the ball of his foot. And this is where everything's going to start for that power position. Robert's going to bring his foot down somewhere on here, and that's going to be his blocking left side. He's going to block that whole left side. To initiate that, he needs to turn on the ball of his foot, always turning in the direction of the throw, which will turn his knee, and he's going to drive that hip to follow, right? As soon as he makes contact with his left foot as I was blocking left leg. Let's continue to move this now. Check this out. He's awesome. Watch this. Look at that. Arm's still way back. Look, he's made contact with the surface now. And you can see here he's establishing a left side block. And what I mean by that is he's trying to make the traditional German power block on that left side. And that's really critical to kind of appreciate coming from, discus is thrown all over the world. But the Germans have kind of perfected that left side block. And you can see here his left arm now is going to block, and he's going to turn this. Look at that. He's not on his heel, folks. He's on the ball of his foot still. That knee is already turned in the direction of the throw. His hip is driving much, much more quickly than his upper body. So he's trying to initiate that lower body as quickly as he possibly can. And watch this. We're going to hopefully get a nice little look at that. Textbook. What do I mean? Look, his blocking left side. Look at this. Straight. Contact made with the surface. He's still in contact with the surface here to some extent. He has blocked his left arm. He said, nothing coming this way. And he's swinging the door open for the right side. You can see everything is turned in the direction of the throw, starting with the toe, his knee, his hips are now driving forward, and now the discus comes through, maintaining that left side block. Look at that. Isn't that great? Okay, so here he goes. Look, watch, even after a couple of frames after release, that thing's gone. It's 10 meters away already. Look, still maintaining contact with the surface. Double support system on the surface. Guys, don't come off the ground. Stay in contact with the surface and pull that discus through. A lot of people want to jump and turn. Listen, if you can't keep your 2 feet on the ground and power that discus out, That is you got to practice that. Later on, you might want to come out of that position. But listen, the Germans do it. They're some of the best in the world, you guys. And those Europeans know what they're doing as far as they've got a long standard tradition and some excellent coaching out there. So just watch that. So look at that. So he's maintaining that power position all the way through the throw. Look at that. Even after the discus is maybe 20 meters away, he's still coming around and maintaining that left side block. So he's really made a really concerted effort to maintain. What a textbook throw. Let's watch it again in full speed, and you'll know what I mean here. So what's really nice about Robert, if you look at all his videos, he comes in the circle the same way. He's built a routine for this event. He comes in and he has this little self wind up. He's going to spin to the right side, get to the center, stay on the ball of the foot, plant that left side, and yell that thing all the way out to 68 meters plus. You guys, Robert Harting, Germany, Olympic champion. Hope you enjoyed it.